Hello. I just want to share why I think that small businesses are so important in the UK economy. By small businesses, I mean businesses that are one man, one woman, one person bands, right up to SMEs that have staff of 250 or more. I live in Swindon in Wiltshire, and Swindon is the second most active economic area in the southwest behind Bristol, something that most people don't know and might not expect. It's a working class town. It grew massively during the Victorian times when Daniel Gooch, who was an apprentice of Isambard Kingdom Brunel, identified Swindon as the great place for Brunel to build his trains. And the rest is history. The town boomed. Even though its history, which was mainly agricultural, goes back beyond that, but the town boomed and became an industrial town. And you can still see that heritage in the town today. It grew and grew. People came from all sorts of countries and different areas of the UK. So we have a big Irish community, we have a big Scottish community, Eastern European, Nepalese. We are such a diverse town, and that's never stopped. Then in the 1980s, we were identified as one of the fastest growing towns in Europe. And yet Swindon gets so overlooked. And this is something I'm really passionate about as someone who became a Swindonian in the 1990s when I moved here to work on a local newspaper. And then later when I was made redundant and set up my small business, I learned about Swindon and its small business sector in a way I'd never learned before. And now I'm in a really important part of that sector. So here in my own, using Swindon as a blueprint, if you like, I know that in every town and every city, there are small business owners like me doing such valuable things that add to the colour, the texture of each economy. Every penny we earn and we spend keeps the oil of business going, keeps the cogs of industry turning. And to me, it doesn't matter if it's just one person in that business or 250 or 2,500. We all have a role to play in that. I try to evidence that myself. I ensure, if my budget allows, that I attend business events regularly, that I take stand at business events regularly here in Swindon and in wider Wiltshire. You know, our county is diverse, it's beautiful, yet it's very small within the UK. So I like to celebrate Wiltshire as a county as well. I also give back. So each year I provide PR or media relations consultancy to a charity for free. And this year and last year it was Swindon Night Shelter, which supports people in the town who are rough sleeping or who are vulnerably housed. And I will support them as well, if necessary and relevant, with crisis management, which can be an incredibly expensive service for an organisation to pay for. And often in the third sector, which is often run by volunteers, they won't have that professional expertise on hand. I also make it my mission to offer something to the small business community. So every single month on a Friday morning, once a month, I do a Fiona's monthly meetup. It's a co-working opportunity at a local hotel in Swindon where people can register online just for numbers. They turn up, it's completely free, and they mingle and work with each other. And if they want to pick my brains during that period of time for free, then that's absolutely fine. I did it really to combat loneliness and to help people who were getting their business back on track after lockdown. And it's been really popular. I'll get an average of 30 business owners who will turn up. And they're not all from Swindon, as it turns out. They can be from wider Wiltshire. I usually get one or two from Bristol, South Wales. I'll normally get a contingent from South Wales and even London. But just because people like the energy of being with committed small business owners. And at my last one, I even had a lady I've made friends with in Swindon who's a Ukrainian refugee called Anastasia. And Anastasia was a successful businesswoman in Ukraine. And of course, that's all gone. She's been displaced by war, so is her children, and now she's in Wiltshire, one of a small community here, and she's trying to rebuild her life in her community. And I'm very proud of the way that the small business community have wrapped their arms around her and enabling her to start to build a new life here in the Swindon area. These are all the reasons that I believe small business is critical to the lifeblood of the UK economy, and I've always believed that. Around 4 in small businesses will get to 10 years. Okay, in any 1 year, all the small businesses that start in the UK, only around 4 will actually get to their 10th anniversary. I'm really proud to say that I myself, my business is 15 years old this year, and I'm going to make the most of it, because the other thing in small business is to recognise that it's hard, it's emotional, it's difficult, and you have to be passionate, because passion doesn't get you through the good days, it gets you through the difficult days. So we need to celebrate every win, however small that win is. Small Business 100 is one way to do that. It brings together a group every year of dedicated and committed business owners, no matter who they are, no matter how much, how small or big their business is. Their passion and drive will be very, very aligned and very similar. And I'd love to be part of that. I've encouraged my clients to be part of it, and many have, and they've welcomed the opportunity. And of course, let's face it, it's really good PR. It does also allow you, if you want to have a more campaigning voice for small businesses in your own community, or even at a national level. So during lockdown, when many small business owners were frozen out of government support, mainly because they didn't qualify for the various schemes, because they were owner managed businesses, so they were directors of limited companies employed by their own businesses. I campaigned for the Southwest for Forgotten Limited, so I was involved in a lot around that. And unfortunately, we were unable to persuade the government that we were worthy of support, and that is something that hurts me even now. But what I take positively from it all is the utter resilience, creativity, the agility and the innovation of the small business community, both in Swindon, in Wiltshire, in the UK. And I am deeply proud to be part of that, regardless of whether or not I'm successful in the Small Business 100.